Okay, in this video we're going to get everything set up ready to rock and start creating our store. Now to do that we need WordPress installed. Now if you've already got WordPress installed, you've already got a site where it's already set up and you're going to install against that, fine, you can skip part of this video. For everyone else who's not kind of sure, I wanted to include at least a example of how to set it up quickly. Now, if you've got a cPanel host, which I recommend, and we've got some recommendations for hosts below if you don't already have one, you can literally use one of their installers. There's usually some sort of like Softalicious, Fantastico. There's lots of one-click installers, so you might already have that. Now again, I'm not going to go through all the different versions and variations of that. If you're unsure, speak to your host. What we're going to do here though is we're going to install it from scratch. I'm going to do it the manual way, which to me is more secure, and you know it's pretty easy to do, and it's also a good skill to have. So the first thing you need to do is create a database. So I'm going to go over here to databases, and you need to basically create a database and a username, and then install one against the other. So in this case, we're going to call the dog store, because that's what we decided to create. And there we go, we got that. And then we need to create a user. So we're going to come over here, and I'm just going to call it, just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to delete this database when we're done, but the dog store or the dog user, and I've got a password that I use that's secure. Okay, if that's all good, create that. Okay, so that's now created, and then we just have to say give permissions for the user to talk to the database. So dog user talking to the dog store, add those two together, select all privileges, boom, done. That's it. Your database is now created and you're ready to go. So we'll go back to the home, and I'll turn off my password checker up there. Now, the next thing we need to do is actually download WordPress itself. So go to wordpress.org, download WordPress, and it'll say, okay, download that. And let's put the zip file. My system, I'm on a Mac, automatically unzips it, but we just need the zip file. So now that we've done that, we'll come over to the file manager in cPanel. And I do recommend a cPanel host because it makes life a lot easier. We'll go into the subfolder. In fact, what I'll do here is I'm going to go here, and I'll go to demos. I'm going to install this in here. This is where I've created a couple of demo sites, and you know, we'll just call this, we'll rename this, we'll just call it dog store. That's where I was going to put it. I'm putting it in a subfolder just because I've got some demos and I'm just using this for demo purposes. I don't need to create a new domain or anything like that. But when I've got it where I'm installing it, I just click upload, and I'll choose the file from my downloads. So I'll come over here. See, there's where I downloaded it. Click open, and it's uploading already. Boom, done. So I can close this down, and I can reload this page. You can see there's WordPress right there. Right click, extract. So we're unzipping it on the server. You can do it via FTP if you want to. It's entirely up to you, but we'll now delete the zip file. It's put that there. Now we can go into the WordPress folder. Now here's the thing, you need to move it up one directory. So I'm going to select all and then click move, because we want it in the root folder. So we want to take it out of the WordPress folder. You see, you don't actually need FTP for any of this. You can all do this very, very quickly this way. And then you're good to go. Just delete the WordPress folder, license text and README. You don't need any of those. I usually remove those anyway. Boom, done. And we're good to go. Now we're ready to run the installer. So what we do is we go to the actual folder, in this case Azon Authority Demos, and we said dog store, and we get the installer pop up. It says, okay, are you ready to go? So click continue. It'll ask for the database name and everything else. So in this case the database name was Azon Auth _ the dog store. Remember, we needed to make a note of those things earlier on. And then the actual username, which was dog user. And then I had a really funky password, which I used for this. And you want to make sure you ask your host if you're not sure what your host is. For most cases on cPanel servers, it's localhost. And then table prefix. Do not use WP. This is why, I mean, manual installation's a little more secure. I'm just going to put dog as the prefix, because a lot of the bots and hack tools and everything else that try and hack and go for sites, script kiddie tools, they use prefixes. They look for WP admin as a database table to try and take over your store. Just use a difference prefix. It makes life easier. So once we're done with that, it says, all right, Sparky, you've made it this far. And now it goes through the last part. So we'll call it the dog store. I'm going to create a password, and I'm going to say what the password is, and then I'll just choose that for now. And this is what I suggest: while you're building, turn that off. Allow search engines to index this site. Turn it back on later on. You can do that from the general settings, but while you're building, keeps prying eyes out while you're building. So now that I'm good, I have my store. Whoops, I know that's the wrong password, because my password system is trying to be smarter than I am, which isn't difficult. Okay, so we have a brand new site. We got all that ready to go. Let's see. And there's our brand new site. Okay, we've got nothing on here, and now we're going to get ready to actually install all of our core systems. So first things to do is check for any updates just of your core system, and in this case ASCII-Met. We'll just update that, and that's all cool. And we'll go back to here. Now we can download all of our plugins from this side. So we've got the Azon Authority, Profit Builder Lite, which we're giving you absolutely free. If you've already got Profit Builder Pro, you can just use that. We also have a special plugin which activates some of the extra e-commerce features for Profit Builder. And if you've already got the Profit Builder theme, again, no problem. You don't have to download that. Well, you have to download it to install it, but you've already got a copy of it. That's fine. So all of these three are optional ones, but they're going to give you a lot of power. If you've already got a theme and you've already got a website and you're really happy with the theme, no problem. You do need WooCommerce, but we'll get to that in a few moments. But again, all of these are some of the extras that we're giving you. So I'm going to download each one of these. Okay, so there's the first one. You can see that's Azon Authority, demo user, and it's digitally signed with your user information. Okay, there's the next one. Okay, and the next one. So we're going to download all three of these real quick. You can see I've got my activation code and everything up there as well. So I've downloaded those. We're going to close down. We don't need cPanel anymore, so I'm just going to close that down. And I'm going to go to Plugins, and then we'll go to Add New. And we'll upload plugins, because we've got these now in our system. So the first one we're going to install is Azon Authority. Open that, install. And then we'll just hit the back button. This is we don't have to activate them all at once. Then we'll get the Profit Builder Lite. Open that, install. And again, we'll just hit the back button and we'll install the PB Commerce. And we can activate all of these on the fly. So, okay, now that we're done with that, let's go to installed plugins. You'll see all of them there. That one, and that one. And we can bulk activate. And all good to go. Now we'll be prompted here to activate Azon Authority. So we'll click on that. And it'll ask you to activate there, so that's cool. You grab your information there. In fact, I don't need this anymore. So we'll come back over here and demo at imsuccesscenter.com. Put that in there. Click activate. And there you go. Now, it will tell you that we haven't got WooCommerce installed just yet. We're going to hold off on that for a second, because we're going to install our theme as well. So we're going to click on Add New. We're going to clean things up a little bit from a base install. So we're going to upload a theme. We're going to install the PB theme, because PB theme will actually help you install not just WooCommerce, but a few other plugins as well. So there's our theme. Open that. Install now. Now, if you have any trouble, these are kind of big plugins and a big theme. So if you have any trouble installing, say, the theme, and it exceeds your shared hosting upload limit, you will have to install via FTP. Now, one way, or you can do it actually via cPanel. What you will do is you will upload the zips and extract them. For the theme, you would put it in. Actually, let me just show you real quick. As we're going to be doing this, let's do that. So what you would do is you would install it in the WP content folder /themes. So for example, I'll go to here, go to demos, go to dog store. Okay, so if you want to install the themes, you can upload the theme here. You can see there's the theme. So you would upload the zip file. In fact, you know what? Let's just, for the sake of demo, show you how to do this. Again, I just want to speed things up for you. So upload, and then you'd choose file and get the PB theme zip. Open. That uploads really quick. Okay, done. And then we go back to here, reload. You can see the theme there. Right click, extract. And it's inflated it. Again, reload the page. You can see it's installed there. Just double check. Everything's cool. Up one level. Delete the zip. And you're done. And you can do the same with the plugins, except the plugins go into, funnily enough, the plugins folder. So I'm actually going to delete this little plugin here, the Hello Dolly one. It's just a demo plugin, but you can see that all of these are now installed here. If I was installing it just as zip files, it would be the same process. Upload the zip, extract it, you're good to go, and then you'd have to come back to your admin panel and just take care of it from there. So you can see we've got the zip file there. We need to activate that theme, and there we go. And we can actually delete some of these. I don't like having old themes around. It just bloats up WordPress, and honestly, I think a lot of times there's a security risk. So I like to remove old themes. I always keep one theme as a backup in case I have to switch themes for any reason. But that makes things okay. So once we're done with that, we are good to go. We can go back to our dashboard. And you can see that our system is now recommending beginning installing some plugins. So we've got Revolution Slider, WordPress, our automatic translation system, WooCommerce, and everything else. So let's go begin installing plugins. And we'll select these ones here. We don't actually need this. We support it, but this is a forum system, so we only need really for this the first 4. We'll install. It takes just a few moments. And it's all activated and everything is good to go. So let's go back to the dashboard, and we have to go through the install process, or the finalization. It's got lots of prompts here. We don't need to see that. We don't need that. We can dismiss that one now. So just a couple of little steps here. We can dismiss this. No, don't bother me again. That collects information about how your site's being used and everything else. I like to keep things a little private. And then we need to install the WooCommerce pages. So there we go, all done. Now let's go over to Azon Authority and do some configuration here. It's like it says here, we're now ready to rock. This is the beautiful thing. You see, that was actually pretty quick. You could do this in like 5 minutes. The first time you have to go through a couple of hoops, but hey, it's all cool. So now we need to go over to the settings page and set a couple of things up here. So the first thing we need is our actual ID, and in this case I'm going to do the Manic 20, which is one of mine. You need to choose your default country. These are the default countries that we select. In my case, it's the United States, but you can see we've got presences in every single one of these. So then we need to put in your AWS key and the secret key that you got from earlier on. Now, I'm going to block and blur mine out real quick and just pop these in. Okay, now we have the affiliate cookie system. I'm going to choose image based here, but we can also do iframe or what have you. This is so that every time a customer comes to one of your product pages, we drop a cookie. That's it. That allows Amazon to retarget your customers and help you get that sale, which is great. That's why I love Amazon and working with Amazon, because they really work to get you that conversion. Now, we can also, if you're on a shared server, when we're importing and updating products and everything else, you want to consider the speed of your server. A lot of shared servers, they throttle you, like HostGator. They throttle the amount of CPU you can use and RAM you can use. So you don't want to kind of overload your server and then get your account frozen for using too much CPU. So you can throttle things back. Now, in my case, I'm on a very fast server, so we got turbo, faster, fast, normal, slow, and slower. If you're on a shared host, I suggest normal. And what that does, it means it runs a process every few seconds, tries to see, okay, so it doesn't overload your box and give you any problems. I'm in turbo mode because I'm on a more powerful server. So we'll save those changes. Now, this is where things get interesting. And I'm just going to tell it not now. I don't want it to save that. Okay. So you should get a message that says, ASON Authority was able to connect to Amazon with the specified key pair and associate ID, which means everything is cool and ready to rock. It means it was able to talk, it was able to see what was going on, and now you're going to be able to start looking and importing products. That means thumbs up, everything's perfect. If you get any error message or it couldn't talk, make sure you go through that first video, those first 3 steps where you create your associate ID, you create your key pair, and you've hooked them together with the product API. So you can check back to the other video for that. Now, this is where the geo-targeting comes in. Again, you can sign up for multiple countries' API programs. So if I wanted to go open up in a new tab, I can go sign up for the associate program over there. I can sign in. Now, it might say, hey, the email password's not connected to an associate's account. Well, that's in the UK. So I now have to go join for free. So just to show you, you will not be able to log in. And, okay, I have to select a different address and everything else. So, yeah, okay, it's got my mother-in-law's address, who I shipped something to the other day. But you have to understand all the other bits and pieces involved with this. Go through all the questionnaires and you can sign up. And then when you're ready, pop your different associate IDs in there, and it will automatically go through each one for you if you get customers in those countries. If you only focus on one country, then hey, that's okay. You know, whatever you want to do. You don't have to sign up for every single country. It's entirely up to you. If you have presence in those countries, great. You know, no problem at all. So that's that. The next thing is compliance. We are very, very, very conscious of Amazon's terms of service. We want you to have a business that lasts forever. So there is a disclaimer where your products might not be refreshed in the last 24 hours. The Amazon's terms of service does require a disclaimer to be placed on all prices that haven't been refreshed in 24 hours. We do this automatically, and you can select everywhere where they should be displayed, and you can choose you can choose your options if you want to. You can either show it on all products or only on individual product pages, however you want your settings. You also, on your theme, and we'll get to this later on, make sure that you put this in the footer of your website or somewhere like that. That is, again, terms of service compliance that you can place in there. We can get to that later on as we're customizing and finalizing our store. But I just want to make you aware of these compliance protocols that we have in place. Next, we have the advanced settings. And you've got all sorts of little items in here you can customize. In general, you do not have to do much, but you do have to set up a cron job. You can see a little notice up here. We'll do that in just a moment. But you can also set all sorts of extra features and abilities up in here. We don't really need to change anything in here. You can enable redirections, which we're already doing with our special redirect system. You can change whether you want to show Amazon reviews on or off. If you want to set up a direct link affiliate store, in other words, there's no add to cart function, there's no checkout function, you can disable the cart and post direct affiliate links, I really don't recommend it, but we had customers that would want that, so we added that in there. Product availability, you can either change product to out of stock or just remove it from your store if you want to. Really depends on how you want to approach it. So we got lots of like kind of fine tuning options in there. And lastly, we have spinner services. So again, there's lots of spinner services we do support. The Best Spinner, Spin Rewriter, and Word AI. You can actually add those if you want to, and we'll get to how you use those spinners later on. But if you want to connect in your information, say you've got the Best Spinner, just put your information in, username, password, save changes, you're all connected to that service. So you're all good to go. So once you're done with kind of the base configuration, the last step before we get to adding products is we have to set up a cron job based on whatever your host is. I'm going to assume you're on a cPanel host. If you're not sure about setting up cron jobs, do ask your host for their specific instructions. For example, GoDaddy has a different method and some other hosts have different methods of doing it. And honestly, we cannot help you with your cron jobs. Our support is not going to be able to help you with all the different hosts out there. But what I'm going to show you works on cPanel hosts, which is what we recommend, and you'll be good to go. So click on Configure Cron Job, and you can also get to that link from the admin section. And this little video walks you through how to do it. But the main thing you need to do is just copy this here, and it gives you the cron command. And you might see multiple options here, and then just go to your cPanel and find the cron section. If you're not sure where you can see it, just type in cron, and there we go, cron jobs. Okay, so let's set up the actual cron job. Now, you can set it to send notifications every time the process runs to your email. I recommend that you don't do that because, well, honestly, you're going to get flooded with notifications. You might want to do it initially just to make sure everything's running fine. It's entirely up to you, but know that you're going to get a lot of emails every time this system runs. And if you've got multiple sites, that can mount up. You might want to do it to create a separate email for notices, just to say, okay, you can check on things, make sure everything's running smooth. It really depends on what you want to do. In this case, I'm not going to bother. I am going to set the time to run you can set it to run every 2 minutes, or you can see how you want things. You can adjust these settings as you see fit. In this case, I'm just going to have it run every 5 minutes. That's fine for me. Those are some default settings, but you can tweak things as you want, and it tells you exactly how things run. And then you just put in the command, and there's our command right there. Boom, add new cron job. Everything is done. You're all set. So that's it. Now we are ready to start adding products, start setting up our actual store, and from there we'll proceed and finalize this bad boy. So we're going to get things rocking and rolling in the next few videos. Now that we've got all the kind of the tech stuff out of the way, now comes the fun part. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video in just a few moments.